Yeah.
Welcome
Welcome.
to week 18 of our USA tour.
Tour.
If you don't know who who are you?
I'm Douglas.
Who are you?
Who am I?
There's my husband, Douglas.
Yeah.
My name's Michelle. Most people know me as Michelle Apples, but technically now my last name is Jorgensen. So we're Douglas and Michelle Jorgensen, and we are currently on a full USA tour,
Yeah.
traveling around in an RV that we renovated.
Mhm.
Giving people a little quick recap just in case there's new people that
Yeah.
have no idea what we're even talking about. So we're currently in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yep.
What's happened this week?
This week, it's been another just kind of.
Well, we weren't supposed to be here this long. We were actually supposed to leave like 4 days ago and go to the Grand Canyon and go to Zion and go to Antelope Canyon. And unfortunately, God had other plans. So now we are in Phoenix. Yeah, this week it was a busy week, but also a that busy, like busy but busy,
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Who you
So
know? If you know, you know. I
he
learned that the other day.
he didn't know what that he
IYKYKYK.
didn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
He didn't know. If you know, you know. Well, he didn't know.
I didn't, and I had to
So
ask my amazing wife, "What the heck does this mean?"
it's because he doesn't have social media. He's not up with the trends of what people talk about. Must be. But yeah, this week, the week started off pretty slow. A lot of like coffee shop work days, which were cool. I got to meet up with a pastor's wife here in Arizona and have coffee with her, which was really encouraging. And just hearing her testimony, she had a testimony that God radically healed her. And she literally was in a season where like she had a heart problem and she didn't think she was going to make it, and like was taking pictures with her kids because she was like they need to remember their mom, like, and to just hear her testimony of her being radically healed was just so encouraging to my spirit. And so that was really great. And yeah, just plugging away at work and trying to, summer camp is coming up in literally a month. And we have like 3 spots left.
Yeah.
It is selling out fast.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing. We found our venue, our retreat center for summer camp next year. So that's gonna be amazing, and we're super excited about that. What else happened at the beginning of the week? Oh, we went to a movie.
Yeah.
Tell them about that.
It was called I can't even.
Unsung
Hero.
Hero.
Yeah. And it's a like documentary.
Kind of. But not in documentary style. It's
Yeah.
in the style of a movie, but it's based on a true story.
Yeah. Of the guys from King and Country, their family. And Rebecca St. James, their sister, and it's a really, really cool story. So if you want to go check it out, or you're looking for a date night, or just to go hang out with some friends,
Or solo date,
or
even.
solo,
Just go by yourself. Go
Yeah.
to a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Unsung Hero. It's
It was
really
really
good.
good.
It was really great, touching story.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was encouraging. So we did that at the beginning of the week. And then we went to a comedy show.
Yeah.
Which was it's so weird. Like, I hadn't been to a comedy show in a long time, a long time. And like, it's just one of those things that like before you're really ignited in your faith, like those things are just like, oh, whatever. But once you're like ignited in your faith, like those things just feel very cringy to like go and sit in. Um, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a unique experience.
Yeah, so I think it just shows you like you're not meant to fit into every environment that you may have used to fit into.
Yeah.
When your heart is on fire for Jesus. So yeah, it's just different. But good learning experience. And I think that's the thing. It's like, so often in like the religious terms, and why a lot of people like don't love the church or organized religion is because it's like, well, you can't do that and you can't do this and you can't do that. But here's the thing, it has to come out of personal conviction. And why I say that is because if we just hide away, and I know my mom's gonna watch this, and I was very sheltered as a kid. She hid a lot of things from us. We weren't even allowed to watch Bugs Bunny because there was violence in it. And so And I think there is obviously like that's important in some aspect to like have those boundaries around like what your kids can watch and what they can't watch. But I think just like hiding them from everything is really not a good thing. Like they need to come up with the personal convictions themselves. And so it's like to instill their identity into them, who they are and whose they are, is
Mhm,
going to be so much more beneficial to them not saying like, oh, like this is not something I want to be a part of,
mhm,
rather than like just saying no, you can't, because then actually it makes people want to do it more.
yeah,
And so I think, yeah, it's like as Christians, I don't think we should be just naive to everything going on in the world, but to be so self-aware enough to be like, I don't like this environment and I don't want to put myself in it.
mhm,
And we've talked about this a lot. Like,
yeah,
I know with you, like there's certain like if movies have any like nudity or sex scenes, he's
mhm,
like instantly like, I don't want anything to do with this. Whereas like that does stuff doesn't really affect me or bother me in any way, but it does make me aware of like, whoa, every movie these days, everything I watch, like, okay, what is the media trying to show people? What is
mm,
the media actually trying to subconsciously, because a lot of times it's not conscious, is subconsciously like plant in people's minds. And so I think it's just that self-awareness and to be able to have your own personal convictions and make sure like, you're not putting yourself in those environments that like you're not feeling like you're supposed to be in.
yeah,
You have anything to say on that?
yeah. I think um, like when you are in those environments and you feel just like out of place, like we were there and everybody's laughing around you and you're just sitting there, and it's like, okay, well, why, like it just makes you really think about that, and then to take action on that, and not to just leave yourself in that environment, but to take action. And I think those are learning things and things that you learn along the way. And yeah, so I think when you're like, oh, this feels different.
Yeah, I think, but my biggest encouragement for those listening is to like not just avoid things
Hmm.
completely, but to really like ask yourself and be so self-aware enough to understand like why is it that I don't want to be there? Why like because yeah, I think like growing up and I was very sheltered to like the real world, and then I would when I was thrown in the real world at 18 when I moved to Vancouver, I was oblivious to a lot of things.
Mm,
And I think like that didn't help me, that actually hurt me. But it's like not just sheltering your kids from it, but making them aware of like the fact that like literally the fact that we like the whole comedy show, I mean, they were degrading women, they were degrading men, they were degrading people, like it was in my opinion, it was just disgusting.
hmm.
And so it's like not to just be like, "Oh, you can't go in that environment," but like actually giving like allowing them to open their eyes to see it for themselves is
Hmm.
important. Um so yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
And then we went to Sedona and went hiking, and tell us about that experience.
Yeah, it was really Sedona's beautiful if you've never been. It's about, I would say, just roughly over like an hour and a half, about north of Phoenix. So it's probably like 2 hours north of Phoenix, because we're about a half an hour north of Phoenix. So yeah, I would say it's about 2 hours from Phoenix. And yeah, it's just beautiful. It's like one of those areas where you drive into and it's like, wow, this
And you're
could
like,
be in like a movie.
it probably isn't a
Yeah.
movie or many.
And so we went on a hike there, and parking was insane. We went to
Yeah.
this parking lot, and
And we
it's
left the house at like 6 a.m. to get there. So we got there at like 8
mhm.
and then go in parking.
Okay.
So I wanted to give them
Yeah, yeah,
reference. Like it's not like we
yeah.
showed up in the middle of the day and it was wow.
No,
Like
that's good. Yeah, so we got there early because of the heat. Like it gets to be 99, 98 degrees here, and you're in the desert, and it's
which for my
blue
mother,
skies.
that's like 32, 35 degrees,
Yeah,
just in context.
yes. And so we got there, and of course, this parking lot was full, and there wasn't that many spots. What'd you say? Maybe like 20 spots?
Yeah.
but there was a shuttle going back and forth, and we didn't realize that. So you get into kind of a line, and you basically have to just keep circling this little lot. Well, if
Hmm.
somebody gets ahead of you in the circle, and then somebody comes up from the end of the hike, now they're going to get your spot, even if you've been circling for the last half an hour. They may have
Hmm.
just snagged your spot. So we like finally saw this couple, and we're like, okay, we're just gonna sit here and just wait. And so we ended up waiting, and having an F-250, like a big
You
truck,
can't park just
you
anywhere.
can't just pull in anywhere. Yeah. So
But
we
the
were,
spot was gold. It was golden. It
yeah.
was good.
So we were able to get a spot, and then we went out on our adventure, and
And we thought the hike was like 3 miles. No, it was 6.
yeah,
Like it was 6 miles, like by the time we got back. And like
yeah,
we both have not hiked like that
in a
in a long
long, long
time.
time.
We both were like after
Done.
sore, tired,
The sun's
hungry.
beating on you all day.
Yes. And
Yeah,
so we wanted food so bad. But this hike, so there's this bridge. It's like a very popular hike in Sedona, and there's this bridge, and the bridge, like it's not really a bridge, it's like a bridge of rocks.
hmm,
So like people go on the middle of this bridge and they from the other side, people take a photo, and it looks
yeah.
like you're up really high and you're on this tiny little rock formation. So yeah.
You are up really high,
You are up
and like
really high.
you
Like
have,
people have died on this. Like
yeah,
multiple people, not just like one person. Like multiple people have died by going and getting photos on this
bridge.
bridge.
Yeah.
And so we're standing there. It's like an hour lineup to get a photo at the spot. And we're standing in line and we want to go do a photo. People were crazy.
People are crazy.
Literally, people are trying to piggyback each other on this tiny little bridge that has, again, no railings. It's not an actual bridge. It's
No.
made of rocks. People are literally climbing down to the bottom of the ledge, hanging off of it. Like people were jumping. People are doing handstands
Handstands.
just for an Instagram photo. Guys, if anyone's listening here, don't be dumb just to get a photo,
Yeah.
like an Instagram photo. Like it's one thing to go out there and get a photo. It's another thing to act like a pure, like out of pure stupidity. Like
Yeah.
don't do it. Life is more precious than that. Like, oh, I got fired up. I was like, I cannot stand here in this line. And he was like, I can't watch.
I couldn't.
Like
It was literally one person after other, and it was like, and it's hard to explain it on this, like, because it just doesn't do it justice,
it's
but
basically someone putting themselves in a very dangerous, stupid environment
over
over
and
a
over
photo.
and over and over again. And it it was, yeah, I don't know.
Like my body would tense up every two
Yeah.
seconds when someone would go on there and do something dumb. And so we both were like, nope, we're just gonna go. I cannot partake in this stupidity because if someone literally dies in front of my eyes, like I don't
No.
know. So we left and went to brunch.
Yeah, but we went, so you can like go down and take a picture on like this side of the
If I can
rock.
show people.
So you can still get a picture of it. And the I think the most, like, the thing that kind of stinks is that if people did it the right way and just went and got a picture, there's a very like wide area that you can get a really nice picture. You're not putting yourself in danger. Like it's very,
This is what people are
yeah,
doing. So you can see people are on this little bridge and she's literally on his shoulders. Like one wrong step and she is overboard. It's wild.
yeah. So, and you don't need to get to that little skinny piece. Like you can go on the side, and
Oh yeah.
it's very wide. Like, and you can
Oh,
take a
and
nice
people
picture.
were literally climbing down here to sit and hang off with their legs to take a photo.
What?
Yeah. To
So
me, it was just one of those things. I'm like, this is not worth it. Like,
no,
at the end of the day, I like a good Instagram photo just as much as the next person. But
life is too
no,
precious.
life is precious.
You have, and I think just like you have
Oh,
family.
and I had a dream the night
Oh yeah.
before, and I woke up terrified from this dream. So I had a dream that Douglas, we were in an airplane, and he asked me what this button was and asked me to push it, and I pushed the button, and he literally fell out of the airplane, like like he was sitting on almost like a secret door that literally flew open, and he fell. And I was like, immediately that dream came back to me when we're standing there, and I was like, nope, he fell from high heights
Hmm.
in the dream. I don't believe dreams are for nothing. And a lot of times they are warning signs or signs, and God gives us vision. And so I was like, no, God's given me a vision that showed me like to be cautious of high areas. And the whole way down, this fool is
Cool.
slipping all the way down because he's got runners from 4 years ago that have zero grip on them.
No?
So if he's slipping all the way down, he would have slipped off that bridge and I wouldn't have been able to live with myself. So we just didn't do it.
What did they say? Why buy new and slightly used will do?
It didn't do though, because you're falling all over the place. So, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Sedona.
Yeah, Sedona was
Oh, and then we walked around like the town and we went
mhm,
to the chapel, the holy chapel. What's it called?
in the rock.
It's
I don't
like
know.
a chapel that was built in a rock.
It was really pretty, and it was so hot in there.
So that's a chapel in the rock. It was built in the rock.
Yeah.
And so you can go in there. You can sit and there's a big um figurine of Jesus hanging from a cross. Oh. And so you could sit in there,
Yeah.
but it was so hot
Oh my gosh, they had like 300 candles.
going and it's like 90-degree
Yeah.
weather. So we could
And we
sit.
were pooped by that time, but we found a parking spot up on the top, so we didn't have to hike the whole way up.
And then we just came back
And then we
and
came back.
did nothing because we were so tired. We watched a movie.
Yeah.
And then church the next day. Tell them about church.
Man, church was wow. It was really good. The Holy Spirit was just so present, and yeah, it was like pressing in and breaking chains of a lot of wounds and a lot of hurt, and specifically they were praying for like um just like
Father wounds.
yeah, father wounds, and how do you say like the like that orphan,
Or like an orphan spirit, like
yeah,
not truly accepting that your identity is a daughter or son of
yeah.
the King of Kings.
Yeah, they really talked about and pressed in for that father love, like not to be on the outside looking in like the prodigal son. And yeah, it was about 3 hours of just speaking, or just pressing in, and it was really beautiful. Like I don't know how to describe it other than God was so present there,
Mm.
and people were lives were changed and chains were broken, and actually, there was a bishop from Nigeria that was supposed to come over and preach, and his visa didn't get cleared, and so he didn't end up coming. And so it was no like service. There was no preaching. But I think that's what's so cool about God is that like
And churches that follow that.
yeah, as you just lean in and pray, and
Yeah, because
it
I
was
think a lot of churches would have just like put someone up there and like to speak,
mhm,
or like kind of made a way or like came up with a formula. I love when churches like don't operate like that. Like there's no formula to the
they just
service.
flow.
It's like, no, we're gonna go where Holy Spirit leads us. And
Mhm.
if that's that we worship and pray and press in for the whole service, like that's what we're gonna do. Which is so beautiful and so like needed that like we just linger with the Lord just a little bit longer in his presence.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like I might shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Um, like for the first time, I felt like the church was like a hospital. It was a place to come and like get healed, and like the brokenhearted are coming, and like, and I think that's what there's a saying about like if people needed, I don't know what the saying
Like
was.
that the church is supposed to be a hospital, not like a perfect place for perfect people.
Yeah, yeah, there's some yeah saying, and I was sitting there and I'm like, wow, like this is incredible. Like this is
This is
the
what
way it
church
should
should
be.
be.
Like
Like,
people should come and have chains broken off of them and like lean
yeah,
into the
like
Holy
praying for
Spirit.
people that have been physically abused
Yeah,
before and
yeah,
yeah, and just like, not condemning them or making them feel like they're less than for it,
mm-mm,
but it's like, no, God wants to heal your heart and like God wants to do something with you and through you and yeah, it's just so
yeah,
beautiful when like you can come to a place and they truly like press into what God is saying and like and break chains because there's so much freedom. Like, and they were talking just about how people were like a lot of people act out in anger or passive aggressiveness just because like they have those wounds that they actually haven't. So it's like a protective mechanism. Like I'm going to protect myself. I need to be in control, and so they like, it was so beautiful. I looked over and these two girls were hugging and one of them was like the worship leader and she like would not let go of this girl and I was like that's what the church is supposed to be. And so often we're just walking on eggshells, and like
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. It's just so precious. This church has been just amazing. It's ignited us so
Yeah,
much and truly just grateful for the experience being here.
absolutely.
And then we went for brunch with our friend Ryan.
Yes. Afterwards,
And then what did we do?
we had breakfast yesterday.
No, on Sunday. I was talking about.
Oh, Sunday. Um,
We didn't do anything
I
after
got
that.
my butt kicked in games.
Oh, he usually does.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
And then yesterday I had a doctor's appointment,
Yeah.
so we actually were able to have lunch with his aunt and uncle, which was so
Yeah.
lovely. Yeah, and I had my doctor's appointment and praise the Lord, I have nothing wrong with me, but also, it's like one of those frustrating things that is
Yeah.
like no one can figure it out. And like, that's a good thing. Like, there's no signs that my body should be feeling the pain that it is. But at the same time, it's the frustrating part of like, if nobody knows what it is, they can't fix it.
But
So,
he can.
but I know that God can because I've seen it before and I've experienced his radical healing. And even talking to this woman and hearing her testimony this week of just her healing journey, it's like so often we are healed, it just hasn't manifested fully in the physical yet, and but we're healed spiritually and we're here healed through the spiritual realm. So I'm just
Mhm.
pressing in and believing that God's going to fully heal me. I've always said it's not going to be a doctor that heals me, it's going to be the Lord. And I truly believe that. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, we're in a coffee shop a couple weeks ago, and someone came up to me and was like, "You're already healed, and God's gonna heal you because He's gonna get the glory, and it's not gonna be, And I was like, "Ah, that's what
Mm.
I've always said is that God's gonna heal me because He's gonna get the glory out of it."
Yeah.
And so, just leaning into that. And then we worked by a pool all day, and it was so nice in the
Yeah.
sun. It's very warm here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's been a really amazing time. And one thing that me and Michelle were talking about yesterday is this journey can get very much where it's like you can look at the negatives in it, or like, oh, it's this RV, and um you can see that, like, almost like the complaining of like, oh, we're doing that. And it's interesting that, like, when you take a step back, as much as you think you're grateful, it's like you start hearing your words, and it's like, oh wow, like, there's so many people that would just do anything to go around in an RV. And so I think that's been one thing that has really, like, come up is and been such a strengthening for us, is to like communicate and look at that and be like, oh wow, like, we do need to be grateful for where we are. But again, that's extremely difficult when you are going through hard seasons, because
Yeah, I think that it's like that balance of like, it's like allowing yourself to feel if you're going through a hard time, like, we have been, but it's also like don't allow that complaining spirit to get in. Don't allow it to just always be like, oh, poor me, oh, woe is me going through this and this and this and this. Oh, life sucks. It's like
hmm
no, it's like, I may be going through a moment of a bad experience, but really in retrospect that's what all it's going to be is a moment of bad
hmm
experience or 2 years of pain. Yeah, that sucks. Like trust me, I don't wish that on anyone
yeah.
because it's like there's days where I completely have a breakdown because I just cannot handle the pain anymore and like live like this. But it's like to allow that one area of my life to affect my whole life, like no, why do we do that? It's like, well, we get one piece of bad news and it affects our whole day. It's like that bad news might have happened for 15 minutes of the day. And now you've let the other 12 hours go sour because of one bad little thing. And so I
Yeah.
think it's like, yeah, just like renewing our mind and allowing yeah, those things to not take root.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's been our week.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
No, it's been a great week. We're off to Palm Springs next week.
Yeah, 1 week we'll be in Palm Springs, so we'll be streaming this from there. So
Mhm.
I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.